Hi, Diane here, and I'm going to talk to you today about I'm Your Venus, Sylvia Stryker Space Case number 2. Just to catch you up a little bit, what we learned in book 1 is that Sylvia Stryker is a Space Academy dropout. She is very smart, but she left school to go back to her home planet and help her mom out in the dry ice mines. Her lifelong dream has been to work aboard a spaceship in security, and in book 1, she hacked her way into the computers and lied her way into a job on Moon Unit 5 as the uniform lieutenant. So the first thing I want you to know about book number 2 is that Sylvia is a legitimate hire on board the Moon Unit 6. She has been hired. She came off of the last moon trek looking pretty good. She passed the physical this time. She has her hiring papers, and she is determined to be the best darn uniform lieutenant that the Moon Unit company has ever had. She's going to network. She's going to make friends. She's going to work her way up the ladder and have a career in the Moon Unit Corporation. Which brings us to point number 2. While Sylvia came off of the last trip looking pretty good, the Moon Unit Company, not so much. In fact, their stocks plummeted and they were on the verge of bankruptcy. So a corporation swooped in and bought them out. That is the Moon Unit Corporation. And in a classic PR spin, they tried to distract everybody in the galaxy from what happened on the last trip by throwing a sweepstakes. And the sweepstakes is awarding a free trip to Venus. And that brings me to point number 3. They're going to Venus. Now, when I was first writing the books, I thought each book they were going to go to a different moon. And I was writing this book and I thought, well, is that kind of boring? Like they're just always going to moons? If you owned a corporation that controlled spaceships that flew tourists to exotic ports of call, would you only go to moons? No, you'd go to planets. So I decided that the exotic port of call in book 2 was going to be Venus. And as it turns out, there are some interesting things that happen when you get closer to Venus, and you find out about those in the book. So that is why they're going to Venus this time. Point number 4 is that we have a couple of other returning characters aside from Sylvia. You have Neptune, who is kind of the alpha male character who is the head of Moon Unit Security. You have Pika, who is the cute little pink gremlin alien girl who is a bit of a troublemaker. And you have Doc Edison, who is just as cranky as ever. And Zach Champion, who was mentioned in book 1, actually is in book 2. What is point number 5? Point number 5, well, I'll go back to book 1 and say that while that one was kind of about Sylvia discovering how alone she was in the galaxy, book number 2 kind of has some surprising elements of family to it. So we find out some truths that Sylvia thought she knew are not true. We find out some truths about Neptune's past, and maybe he's not quite the loner he wants everyone to think he is. And we find out that even when you're not related to people, sometimes you have unexpected alliances built between others. So there is an element of family to this particular book. So that is 5 things about I'm Your Venus, which comes to you on August 21st. I hope you're looking forward to it as much as I am. And thank you for watching.